We're here at the 42nd annual Dalton Hamfest in Dalton, Georgia. While I'm here at the Dalton Hamfest, I've had the opportunity to interview a few folks, so stand by for some really good interviews. First up, we're going to hear from the president of the Dalton Amateur Radio Club.
I'm Greg, N4JGW, current president of the Dalton Amateur Radio Club, and the coordinator for the Dalton Hamfest. This is our 42nd year. We typically, on a low year, we'll have about 1,000 folks here. On a good year, like this year, we'll have a full boneyard, and there'll be 1,500 people here. So it's in its 42nd year. We typically have a pretty good-sized boneyard. Even when the weather's bad, we have a good indoor boneyard. So plenty of used equipment. We have 3 full buildings. And then about 2 acres outside when the weather's nice, like it is this year. So it's a pretty good size event.
All right, folks, I'm here at the NGGMRS trailer. I'm going to go check it out. GMRS is a different type of radio service from ham. I recently got a GMRS license. I'm WSAE 644. I actually joined the North Georgia GMRS network, and I was assigned the TAC call ATL92. So, stand by. Tell us a little bit about GMRS and the NGGMRS network, if you don't mind.
So GMRS, by FCC definition, is a family-based radio service. So GMRS license covers your whole family, immediate family, and there's no testing required for GMRS, which makes it a little bit different and a little bit easier for families to get involved and get on the air, because one license covers the whole family. And if your wife or your children aren't interested or not capable of taking a test, then GMRS is the way to go, because that $35 fee for a 10-year license covers the whole family. Get them all on the air.
Well, Jeff, tell us a little bit about what you got here in the trailer.
So this is our Vanguard studio. It's intended to be a mobile studio where we can service the community with different deployments. And we have a repeater on board, a UHF radio on board, a VHF radio on board, and it's set up for 4 stations to operate independently or collectively. So all 4 stations can be on the same radio or radio service, or each station can be operated independently. So, for example, we did the Jeep Fest and partnered with the Pickens County Sheriff's Department. So Pickens County Sheriff uses VHF for their radio service. So we had one station monitoring the VHF service and interfacing with the Sheriff's Department, while we had 2 other stations interfacing with the GMRS folks in the Jeep community.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And we do have a repeater on board, so we can deploy and have coverage that way for HTs and handy talkies. If people are out and about, we can give them a little bit better and more reliable signal than just Simplex would provide.
Oh, cool. So tell me about the equipment.
So we have a 50 amp power supply on board. We have a 40 amp Kenwood UHF repeater for our GMRS services. And we have a UHF and a VHF radio to interface with those kinds of needs as well.
Wow. Jeff, how long have you been with GMRS?
With GMRS, I've been with them for 4 or 5 years now.
Wow. So what got you into GMRS?
Where I live up in Waleska, Georgia, there's very, very limited and spotty cell phone coverage at best. So radio was kind of a much more reliable means of communications. If we needed to get in touch or needed help or something like that, we knew the radios and the repeaters were going to provide reliable communications for us. So that's what we went down that path and jumped in with both feet. So I'm an amateur operator myself, as well as GMRS. And
me too.
So no reason why you can't play in both sandboxes. We do encourage all of our members to pursue their radio careers as much as they'd like to. So There's no reason why you can't be amateur and GMRS at the same time.
So guys, why should someone get a GMRS license?
Well, the good thing about GMRS license is $35 for 10 years. You can get your family involved. It doesn't require a test. So my wife won't do the ham test, but she'll do GMRS radio. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You get your license, you hand out the radios to your family members, give them their call sign, and get them on the air. It's just an easier way to keep the trade alive, is having GMRS.
You know what's really cool is that recently David's got his mom on the air.
Yes.
And so it's really neat to hear that perspective and her ideas on the air. So if it were an amateur radio genre, there's no way we'd be able to do that. But because of GMRS and the licensing allowing family members to participate, David's able to get his mom on the air regularly, and that's fun. That's one of the advantages of GMRS is the license allows family members to participate, whereas in amateur radio that can be challenging.
Next, we'll hear about Julie's NGGRMS show.
Well, if you're interested in catching up with things that are going on in North Georgia GMRS, Julie does a weekly program called Julie's Tips. It's aired on our Thursday evening net on any North Georgia GMRS network repeater. The net starts at 7:30. We take early check-ins at 7. This is the host of the Rabbit Hole.
The host of the Rabbit Hole. Tell us about the Rabbit Hole.
The Rabbit Hole is about preparedness. We talk about canning, dehydrating, freeze drying, just getting prepared for the just-in-case thing. We have a bi-weekly net every other Monday night at 7 p.m. So you can check us out. We'll run through what you need to do to handle a survival situation.
So you're a prepper type of thing, in other words.
Well, the preppers have gotten a bad name because of TV shows, but in all honesty, it's a way of life. 100 years ago, if you wasn't prepping for firewood because it's getting cold, you would freeze to death. So it's just a way of life. It's sustainment, and it's a good way to preserve life.
All right. So where can we find the Rabbit Hole Network?
The Rabbit Hole Network is on North Georgia GMRS. You can find our information on nggmrs.org, and we also have a Facebook page that you can get our schedules, updates, and news on there. So we can keep you informed.
Here's my good friend Arnold with his testimonial about ham radio.
Good morning, Steve. Great to see you again. One of the things I like about ham radio is lasting friendships. I remember all the conversations on the Atlanta Radio Club repeater and talking about ham radio, the hobby, and other hobbies that you had. And currently I'm enjoying Parks on the Air, having a good time with that. And then in the recent past, I enjoyed DMR and making friends out of state on VHF. And if you get into ham radio, I certainly hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Now, here's Jim and David with the North Georgia Amateur Radio Club.
Well, we're a very active club. We have fox hunts, we have monthly meetings, we have a Facebook page, and we have a website. We get together quite often and we visit each other's homes and just generally have a whole lot of fun. We try to mentor young hams coming in and even some older people that want to join the club. Now, this is a fine selection of vintage radio gear here. It's got a lot of history behind it. Some of this was originally low band. We have some other 2-meter stuff here. This dates back sometime around the 1970s. There's a number of antennas here because a lot of the guys are into VHF and UHF. And of course there's test equipment and some good recycled stuff that everybody needs.
Need wire? Let's hear from Deborah at The Wireman.
We're with The Wireman. We've been in business for 49 years serving the amateur radio community, and we do a lot of our wire especially for the amateur market. We carry balance that we make up, connectors, anything to do with wire and cable, you can get it from us. And we're here at the Dalton Hamfest today. If you're available, come on down. If not, we'll see you along the road. We do several Hamfests a year, so we look forward to meeting you. If you have any needs, just give us a call at 1-800-727-9473. Thank you. Our website is www.thewireman.com.
Next, let's hear what Jan does for our service members and our veterans.
Hi, my name is Jan Sloan. I'm with Quilts of Valor Foundation. We are a national/international group. We have been in business, so to speak, for a little over 20 years. 2023 was our 20th anniversary. Our group started literally with a mother's dream while her son was stationed in the early years of Iraq in the war, and she saw how the war and everything to do with it kind of drug the soldier down into some depressing times. And then, like in another scene in the movie, then she saw a soldier with a quilt wrapped around him, and it was that essence of home and comfort and family that uplifted him and gave him a little more happiness. And so she saw this as the beginning of Quilts of Valor, and from there she started making more quilts, and they were patriotic, and it grew. And over time, when we celebrated our 20th anniversary last year, we marked over 300,000 quilts awarded to veterans. Some of the quilts that you see here today are ones that have been made locally. They are all different, all creative. Most of them are red, white, and blue. Other ones are specific to those that they're being awarded to. They can be personalized. We award whenever we get a chance and as often as we can. We are trying to cover as many of our World War II veterans before they leave us. Anyone who has any kind of infirmities, that has health issues, they go to the top of our list to be awarded as soon as we can get them to them. Our group is based in Rome, Georgia. We are Country Squares QOV. We meet monthly to sew from January through October, and we spend time in our leaders group home sewing for a few hours and having fellowship and sharing ideas. And last year our group awarded 58 Quilts of Valor locally. I have been quilting since 2019, and this is my passion, and I love to do this. I turn out as many as I can and have a lot of patterns and a lot of friends, and we work diligently to try and cover as many veterans in Georgia. We have a long waiting list, and so we would invite anyone who sews, quilts, long arms, willing to bind, or even if they just want to press seams at some of our sew days, to come and join us. Anyway, you can look around at some of the quilts, enjoy those, because they will be awarded at various times. We have various blocks that we do. This is our floating star. It's one of our go-to blocks that we do. But as you can see, they're all different patterns and all different skill levels of our sewers. So if you want more information, go online to quiltsofvalorfoundation.org, QOVF.org, and there's all kinds of information to anyone who logs on. Thank you for your interest, and come by and see us at Hamfest. This is our third year here, and we would love to talk to you about Quilts of Valor.
And last, but not least, my good friend and fellow Ham John has a very special announcement.
I'd like to welcome everybody and invite you to the Atlanta Hamfest this year, June 1st, 2024. We've got 40,000 square feet of air-conditioned indoor space, and we've got a big tailgating spot outside, and plenty of room for everybody, and air conditioning to boot. So this is the 5th year this building's been open. So we're looking forward to having another great Hamfest in a beautiful building. It was built and opened up in 2019, and is actually one of the premier spaces now in the Southeast for a Hamfest. So the Hamfest itself's been going on for about 98 years. Actually, a little over 100 years. We've missed a few years because of COVID. So this year will be our 98th event, and been going on a long time. Started out as most Hamfest did 100 years ago. It was a gathering of amateur radio members of the Atlanta Radio Club on top of Stone Mountain, and eventually turned into the event that it is today, like most Hamfests, where you're buying and selling equipment and getting to meet friends that you've contacted over the radio over the years, and a lot of other great things. We have antenna builds there, so you can show up and build a dipole if you like, take it home and throw it in the tree. Guaranteed to work, simple. So great event, and look forward to having everybody out there this year with us.
All right. Now I want to say right here that I've known John for many years, most of the time that I've been a ham for nearly 40 years, and I'm privileged to consider John a very good friend of mine. John, one more thing. So give us the date again for the Hamfest, for the Atlanta Hamfest.
For 2024, it is June 1st, first Saturday in June.
And where will it be?
It will be at Jim Miller Park in Austell, Georgia, which is south of Marietta.
Well, thank you very much.